You're watching Times XP. I'm Driti Atri, and there's a lot going on in Caribbean. There's a lot of news about US, Venezuela, the war, but there's a teeny tiny island nation known as Trinidad and Tobago that keeps coming in the headlines. But aren't you wondering why so many Indians are living in this Trinidad and Tobago? Here on Times XP today, we are going to talk about the forgotten story of an island that became Little India. It's a question that surprises many people. Why do thousands of Indians live in a tiny Caribbean island called Trinidad and Tobago halfway across the world from India? How do people from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, they end up on sun-soaked beaches? Well, to understand why, let's go back, and that to 170 years. Because this story begins not with airplanes, but with ships. Let's tune in to chapter number 1, the ships that carried India away. It was the year 1845. The British Empire ruled India, and in the Caribbean, sugar plantation was struggling after slavery was abolished. The British had no idea, but then something magical happened. Well, the British had a new idea. If they can't use the enslaved Africans anymore, they'd find new laborers, cheap laborers, and that too from India. And so they started shipping Indians across the ocean as laborers. Workers bound by contracts, not by chains, but often treated just as cruelly. The first ship, Fatel Razak, it sailed from Calcutta back in 1845. It carried about 225 Indians to Trinidad. They were farmers, they were carpenters, they were laborers, most of them from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, and a few from Tamil Nadu as well. But you know what? They had no idea where they were going. They were told stories about golden land across the sea. Basically, a Chini Dweep, the island of sugar. But when they arrived, it was a life of hard labor, heat, heartbreak. Then comes chapter 2, the birth of Indo-Trinidadians. From 1845 to 1917, over 145,000 Indians, they were shipped to Trinidad under the entire system. Some returned to India after years of toil, but many stayed. They built homes, they built farms, communities. They built a new life and a new identity. And that's how Indo-Trinidadians were born here. Basically, a vibrant fusion of Indian traditions and Caribbean culture. Today, nearly 37% of Trinidad and Tobago's population is of Indian origin, the largest ethnic group on this particular island. They speak Hindi language, they cook roti, they cook dal, they celebrate Diwali, Holi, and even they sing bhajans, all while dancing to the Caribbean beats as well. Chapter number 3, the faith, the festivals, and the food. Walk through the streets of Trinidad and you'll see something really amazing. Hindu temples beside the mosques, roti shops next to cricket clubs, posters of Bollywood movies on the Caribbean streets. Indians brought their gods, their festivals, their food, and they never let them fade. Trinidad celebrates Diwali as a national holiday. There are over 300 temples across the entire country, and chutney music. Yes, chutney is a mix of Indian folk tunes with the Caribbean rhythms. You know what? It's sound that tells a different story. Story of migration, story of survival, story of identity. Chapter number 4, the struggles and the success. But this wasn't easy. For decades, Indo-Trinidadians, they were marginalized. Their culture was seen as foreign. They were called coolies, basically a word just to demean them. They were pushed to the margin of power and politics, yet they rose. They became teachers, they became doctors, businessmen, leaders. In fact, Trinidad and Tobago's first female Prime Minister, Kamala, she is of Indian descent. From sugarcane fields to the parliament, that's the journey of the Indian diaspora here. Chapter number 5, a legacy that refuses to fade. Even today, over 1 in 3 Trinidadians trace their roots to India. Some still visit their ancestral villages in Bihar or Uttar Pradesh, places their great-grandfathers left more than 150 years ago. And Though they may not speak the fluent Hindi anymore, they still say namaste with pride. Their culture lives on in the aroma of curry, the beat of the dole, and the sparkle of Diwali lights along the Caribbean coast. Let's look at a bigger picture, ladies and gentlemen. When you look closer, you realize this isn't just a Trinidad story. It's a part of a much larger Indian migration. Over 1.3 million Indians were sent as laborers across British colonies to Fiji, to Mauritius, to the other countries as well. But in Trinidad and Tobago, their story becomes something special. A story of transformation, a story of cultural power. So, the next time you hear Bollywood music in the port of Spain or see a Diwali light glowing over the Caribbean Sea, remember this. It's not an accident, it's history, it's migration, it's survival, it's India, thousands of miles away but still shining bright in the heart of the Caribbean. Thanks for watching. I am Driti Atri.